Marcus made $94,000 last year. He had health insurance, 2 weeks of paid vacation, and a 401k with a 3% company match. He also got laid off in February, with no warning, via a calendar invite titled Important Update. 11 years at that company, 1 calendar invite. That same month, his coworker Priya, who had left 2 years earlier to run a one-person consulting business from her apartment, had her best revenue month ever. 41 clients, $12,000, no boss, no calendar invite, just her laptop, a few software tools, and a system she had spent 18 months building while everyone else told her she was crazy. This video is about the gap between those two stories, and more importantly, it is about why the thing we were all told was the safe path has quietly become the riskiest financial decision most Americans make in 2026. Let's start with a number that should bother you. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the median tenure at a U.S. employer is now just 3.9 years. That means the average American worker is effectively a contractor who just does not know it yet. You get the commute, the office politics, the capped salary, and in return you get the illusion of stability. But the data says the stability was never really there. Companies have known for decades that loyalty only flows one direction. Marcus just learned that the hard way. Now here is the part most finance channels will not say out loud. The 9-to-5 does not just cap your income, it caps your thinking. When your survival depends on one source of income controlled by someone else, your brain stops scanning for alternatives. It stops innovating. It goes into maintenance mode. Psychologists call this learned helplessness. The financial version is when you stop asking what you could build and start asking whether you will survive the next round of layoffs. The solopreneur model breaks that pattern completely, and in 2026, it has never been more accessible or more ignored by people who could benefit from it. Here is the mechanism. A solopreneur is not a freelancer. Let me be very specific about that distinction because it matters. A freelancer trades time for money. You stop working, the money stops. A solopreneur builds systems that generate revenue independent of how many hours they work that week. The goal is not to hustle harder. The goal is to productize your knowledge, to take what you already know and package it into something that can be sold again and again without your physical presence required. Think about what Priya actually built. She had spent 8 years in corporate HR. She knew recruiting, onboarding, and team structure better than most people with MBAs. Instead of consulting one-on-one at $150 an hour, she packaged that knowledge into a $497 online course, a $99 per month membership community, and a $1,200 done-for-you audit service for small businesses. 3 revenue streams, 1 person. No employees. Her income does not go to zero if she takes a week off because the course keeps selling, the membership keeps renewing, and the audit pipeline is booked 4 weeks ahead. That is the model, and here's why it works so well right now. Artificial intelligence has eliminated the overhead that used to make this kind of operation impossible for one person. In 2019, running a content business at scale required a video editor, a copywriter, a customer service rep, and a social media manager. That is 4 salaries, 4 sets of headaches, and probably $60,000 a year minimum in payroll before you paid yourself anything. Today, a single person with the right AI tools can do all of that for under $100 a month. This is not an exaggeration. It is a structural shift in what one person can produce, and most corporate employees have not even begun to process what that means for their career. Stay with me here, because what I am about to show you is where the real money math starts. Let's say Marcus, after getting laid off, decides to go the traditional route. He updates his LinkedIn, starts applying, and lands a new job at $92,000 a year, slightly less than before. His take-home after taxes is roughly $5,800 a month. His savings rate after rent, car, food, and subscriptions is maybe $400. At that rate, to save $100,000, he needs 21 years. 21 years of perfect discipline, no emergencies, no lifestyle inflation. Now let's run the solopreneur version. Priya's $12,000 month has a cost structure that looks nothing like a traditional salary. Her tools cost $80. Her software for the membership platform is $49. Her AI assistant for content is $30. Total overhead under $200. Her profit margin on that $12,000 month is over 90%. That means $10,800 into her pocket. In 1 month, now let's compound that. If she reinvests 15% of her income into paid advertising and growing her audience, and she grows at just a 15% clip year over year, a very conservative estimate for a niche authority business. In 5 years, she is running a $500,000 solo operation with no employees and a profit margin that would make most venture-backed startups weep. That is not a fantasy. That is math applied to a model that exists and is being executed right now by people without college degrees, without startup funding, and without connections. Let me talk about the niche authority piece because this is where most people get it wrong. They try to build an audience by being broad. I will talk about finance. I will talk about health. Wrong. The internet rewards specificity. Niche authority means becoming the most trusted voice on one very specific problem for one very specific type of person. Recruiting systems for solo female founders in the e-commerce space. That sounds narrow. It is narrow, and that is exactly why it prints money. Because when someone with that exact problem finds you, they buy immediately. They do not shop around. They do not compare prices. They hand you their credit card because you are the only person who seems to understand their exact situation. A 2023 study from Content Marketing Institute found that niche-specific content generates 3 times higher conversion rates than broad general content. 3 times. The math on that alone should make you reconsider every piece of generic advice you have ever received about building an audience. Now let's talk about getting paid, because here is a detail that most solopreneur content leaves out. Geography arbitrage is the great equalizer of the 2020s. The United States has the deepest pool of digital consumers with the highest willingness to pay in the world. A course priced at $497 is aspirational money in most countries. In America, it is one car payment. When your business is entirely digital, your product is priced for the highest paying market on earth, but your costs can reflect wherever you live. Priya runs her business from Lisbon, Portugal. Her rent is $900. Her life is excellent. She earns in dollars and lives in euros, which today means her purchasing power is significantly amplified. Marcus, meanwhile, is spending $4,000 a month just to live in Dallas. This is not about abandoning America. It is about understanding that location independence is a financial asset, and most people never put a number on what it is worth. Let's talk about the 90-day launch, because this is where most people stall. They spend 6 months preparing and never actually ship anything. The blueprint here is aggressive but achievable. In the first 30 days, you identify your niche, validate it by finding at least 5 people online who are actively paying for solutions to that exact problem, and you pre-sell your product before building it, not after, before. This is critical. You do not build the course and then look for buyers. You find the buyers first and let their willingness to pay confirm that you are building something the market actually wants. In days 31 through 60, you build. The product does not need to be perfect. It needs to solve the problem completely. A 45-minute video course that solves one specific problem is worth more than a 12-hour masterclass that wanders all over the place. You also build your distribution machine in this phase, one content channel, optimized for organic reach. YouTube, LinkedIn, or a niche newsletter. Pick one, master it. In days 61 through 90, you systematize. You document every repeatable task. You automate everything that can be automated. You identify your 3 highest converting pieces of content and make more of them. By the end of 90 days, you do not need a perfect business. You need proof of concept. You need one customer who paid you money for something you built. That changes everything in your head. Now here is the part about variable income stress, because I would be doing you a disservice if I glossed over it. The hardest thing about running a solo business is not the work. It is the month where the numbers are flat and your brain starts telling you this was a mistake. Marcus, who is wired for the predictability of a paycheck, would find this the most psychologically difficult adjustment of his life. The fix is not to pretend the stress does not exist. The fix is to build what finance professionals call a cash flow buffer, a dedicated business savings account with 3 to 6 months of operating expenses that you do not touch. This buffer converts, I might be going broke, panic into, I am having a slow month inconvenience. That psychological difference is worth more than any productivity hack you will find online. The other fix is to diversify your revenue streams inside the business. 1 product is a job, 3 products is a business. Priya has a course, a membership, and a service. If the course sales slow down, the membership revenue is still arriving. If the membership churns, the service pipeline keeps cash coming in. No single revenue stream is carrying the whole weight. Here is the final thing I want you to sit with. We started this video with Marcus, loyal employee, 11 years, 1 calendar invite, and most people watching this will feel sympathy for Marcus but will not actually believe the same thing could happen to them. That is not a character flaw. That is psychology. The human brain is wired to discount future risk when the present feels stable. It is called normalcy bias, and it is the same psychological mechanism that made people ignore hurricane warnings in 2005. But here is the reframe that I want to leave you with. The 9 to 5 was never safe. It was familiar. Those are not the same thing. Safety is a diversified income, a productized skill, and an audience that belongs to you, not to an employer who can revoke your access to the building with a calendar invite. Familiarity is a system that was designed to make someone else wealthy, dressed up in the language of security. Priya did not get lucky. She got specific. She built systems. She accepted 11 uncomfortable months in exchange for a lifetime of control over her own income. Marcus is talented, hardworking, and almost certainly capable of the same thing. The only difference right now is what he believes is possible. You already have the knowledge. The tools cost less than a gym membership. The market is global. The only question is whether you are going to keep waiting for stability that was never really yours, or start building something that actually is. If this video shifted how you see your own situation, subscribe. There is more where this came from.